So if I add 1 ton of CO2 greenhouse gas to your carbon footprint, with each 100 gallons of petroleum you burn, that'll help us increase the guilt that goes along with every mile we drive. So wood will rot, char will not. So the theoretical maximum of char yield of pyrolysis production is 30%. Half of the energy is in the char and half is in the pyrolysis gases. Carbon in the char will not rot in the soil, and so if carbon is not burned, rather mixed with soil, as in biochar, then it will remain out of the atmosphere. And each pound of the carbon in the soil, like I said earlier, is 3.6 pounds less CO2 in the atmosphere. So to drive this home, combined gasification and char production replacing fossil fuels can actually provide up to 145% carbon negative climate benefit. So Green Sources, my organization, has been providing site selection, survey, and feasibility study and equipment sourcing for integrated biomass, biochar, energy utilization, and waste reduction systems. We're working with a group in the San Luis Valley to provide a biochar boiler for hot water and steam for a food production facility in that area. Look at the size of the forest fires we had this last summer, the tremendous amount of energy that's in there. We need to do a lot of work to create the traction to utilize this biomass material in a manner that is this beneficial. I would caution against making biochar just because you can make some bucks out of your waste and throwing away the heat. Make your biochar in a manner that prevents the use of fossil fuel, and we have the only fuel cycle known to be truly carbon negative. We have lots of options that are carbon neutral. There are some folks that are here that I just spoke with that are doing hemp agricultural test plots, putting various amounts of biochar into the soil. Hopefully they will identify a sweet spot amount of charcoal supplement to the soil. So this is a picture of me with a round bale on a trailer. It kind of dwarfs me and my big trailer. So at this point I open you up to any questions you have on the potential or the realities of dealing with biomass. Please bring me your most embarrassing questions. Yes?
Can you drive home the point?
Closer, I can't hear you.
Can you drive home the point that pyrolysis isn't the main energy source, but the gas combustion is actually the energy source and the gases? Can you explain that a little bit further?
Oh yeah, so yeah, pyrolysis is not the end point, it's the tool by which we achieve the prevention of CO2 and the reduction of CO2 in the atmosphere. It's the combination of both replacing a job that would have been done using a fossil fuel and the production of solid carbon, making it available to a non-combustion use. You can compost with it. About 25% of the composition of a compost pile is a pretty good sweet spot by my first stab at it. It can also be incorporated up to 10% into animal feed pellets. I'm hopeful that a system will soon be developed that can pyrolyze the biomass close to where it was harvested and be returned to that field. And I think that there is probably an excellent business opportunity for those who could be interested in putting together a packaged biochar compost for home gardeners in the city community. So it's an attractive symbiotic relationship.
But how how can hemp
What's your question?
how can hemp help in the production of producer gas?
Oh, yeah. Well, hemp can help in production of producer gas. You can take the spent biomass, which has the minerals that were taken out of the soil, and so that's where it's good to have an integrated nearby situation. But the woody material, like the herd, you can't just build houses out of it anymore. It's available for fuel too, and that would be a low ash use of it. But each part of the hemp plant should be utilized in its highest manner. The flowers are more valuable than the seeds. We need the seeds to make food, like my ice cream, and what will soon be a full line of hemp foods of every imaginable kind. We've made loaf of hemp protein, tastes a bit like chicken. We made hempy dogs. I've seen some folk making some very nice, high quality, high purity hemp protein powder. And hemp seed oil is probably one of the most beneficial foods you can put in your body. It helps, because it has such a large amount of polyunsaturated fats. The hemp seed oil is, it's tasty too, compared to the other super polyunsaturated fat flaxseed oil, which tastes like a paintbrush awfully quickly. The hemp seed oil has got a nutty flavor, and the shelled hemp seeds have a great flavor, a lot like pinion nuts and macadamia and cashew, all the best tasting nuts on the planet. Did that answer your question?
Yes, but
Come here.
How is production actually like applicable right now towards the hemp and introducing it into an industry that already exists?
Well, we need to, I've been proving concepts, and we need to scale this up to a scale that can make a difference. So the step that we're at right now is our first integrated biochar boiler. And a biochar is a real accessible thing, because you can incorporate it into if you have hot water heating system in your house, you can incorporate it that way. We can take it all the way up to megawatt size as we identify sites that use a large amount of power. Those are the sites that can generate a lot of electricity. We can run this into engines, and I have a 45 kilowatt Onan generator that I have already adapted and we have run on our producer gas. That size is almost a sweet spot to use the largest size engines that were used in vehicles without going to an outside niche. So we can make modules of this size. We can make steam that can run a power plant up to, there's 100 and 300 megawatt size power plants. And at that scale, I believe we're making a difference. I have a wonderful mentor who translates what I do into truckload scale. Say, well, you do that with this size machine, and you should be able to fill a truckload in an afternoon. And then I ask him, well, how much bigger do I have to do it to fill a truckload in an hour? Because that's much of the language of commerce. But I don't want to get somebody to make an investment in some machinery that I don't have a proven market for, or an attractive prospect for how to do it. There are too many people that have all their storage spaces filling up with the harvest from the last few years. And so when I'm doing my job right, I help I help stimulate movement to get stuff moving from your storage space into your wallet. We need farmers to have the resources to make enough money that they can come back for the next season and be happy about it. You know, farming has always been risky, you know, and hemp is long forgotten, newly rediscovered. We got a lot of work to do. We've made some accomplishments. I'm delighted that my chemistry work is beginning to team up with the use of the spent biomass. We can make pellets out of the spent biomass, and half of the folks I've talked to got a pellet stove. And that spent biomass, the char from that spent biomass is real rich in minerals that help help the plants grow faster and be nice and balanced. So we've got a lot of possibilities. I hope there's some of you here that will, after I'm done here, talk to me about a project that seems like it might be a fit. And I can either prod you on or warn you of hazards. When I'm doing my job right, I do both of those. Any other questions? Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much for this.